Usually you guys see the garden in the mornings, but today I wanted to do a sunset garden tour because golden hour. Hi, I'm Rachel. Welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Every week, if you're new here, every week I do a garden tour. It comes out on Wednesday, and I have a catalog of all my previous garden tours. So if you ever watch a garden tour and you're like, oh, I want to see all the progress either before or after that garden tour, it is all there in playlists on my channel for you to watch. So I try to start in the same place every week so nobody gets confused as to where anything is. This is the right side of my garden, and as we go down this first trellis we see onions interplanted with fava beans. And my fava beans have actually finally started putting on beans. You can see some of the pods back here. They are so close to being harvestable. I mean, I could harvest them right now, but I'm waiting on them to get just a little bit bigger so that I get kind of the maximum harvest that I can from these plants. These are actually overwintered fava beans. I wasn't really sure what time to plant them because this is my only second time trying. And the first time they got sprayed by weed killer by a well-meaning neighbor at my old apartment. So this is the first year I've really had fava beans, and I planted them in the fall, probably a little bit late to get a harvest, and then managed to pull a lot of plants through the winter. And you can see these bigger ones. These are the ones that made it through the winter, and these are ones that I replanted in the spring here. And these overwintered ones are the ones that are actually finally putting on pods. Let's see if we can find some on the other side. Oh, yep, there they are. Look at these. Ah, that's so close. I picked one yesterday and the beans were looking great. Like I said, definitely still edible, but I think I can wait just a little bit longer and get slightly bigger beans from all of these. Coming back to the start here, on this side I have cardboard that is trying to suppress weeds, and I'm using old containers with dead plants from last year to hold that down. And then I have some salad greens kind of here, probably a little choked out by some of the weeds. These are 2 spinaches, and I have some Merlot lettuce here. And as we go further down, we actually see the kohlrabi, which this is also my first year growing kohlrabi. And I wasn't sure if it was going to bulb up. And then I looked one day and it was getting pretty big. So I think I'm definitely going to have a good harvest of kohlrabi, which is really nice. So if we scoot over to the next row, we have sort of split in 2, onions on this side and garlic on this side. And at the very front, a purple cabbage, which again, I planted too late. Most of the things in the fall I was a little late on. And so this never really got a chance to head up. And it is looking like it might actually now be trying to head up after living outside for several months during the winter and not really doing much. And my garlic has gone from, oh wow, that's big and healthy, to, oh my god, that's huge. This is really incredibly large for garlic. And I think it's a combination between the variety and the fact that I planted it in this area where I had bush beans over the summer. And so they fixed a lot of nitrogen into the soil and probably kind of supercharged the growth on these garlic. But I'll have to go look at the variety and put it up on the screen for you guys because I can't quite remember. In between my garlic, I have a few lettuces here as well. And what's really interesting to me is this lettuce and this lettuce are the same variety. And this one I got covered when we had a really unexpected freeze. And while these are going to be really frost resistant, it had been warm for so long that these plants couldn't really prepare. And this one has been looking way better than this one for like a while. But now I'm noticing these ones that didn't get covered, not only do they look super different, but they are actually making heads, whereas this one is not. And I'm certain that they're the same variety. And so that's kind of wild to me, actually, that the growth habit is so drastically altered. This is Kata. She's one of my 2 black kitties. She's 2 years old and a little bit of a menace. But no, overall, a very sweet girl. Those of you who've been following my channel know I've been letting my turnips go to seed. 1 for the early flowers, 2 for the seeds, and 3 for the fact that I've heard that having flowering brassicas can help deter some pests in the garden. And so I have these beautiful flowers, and the turnips are making these lovely pods full of seeds. And hopefully they are a beautiful pest deterrent, but we will see. This has not been tested by me at all. My beets are actually also finally going to seed. You can tell because a little flower coming up in the middle, and also it suddenly got a lot taller. You'll notice things when they go to flower, they send the flowers way, way up. Oh, look at that golden hour light. I just love that. I first noticed how pretty the golden light was on the camera. Like, I know it's pretty in real life, but I didn't realize how good it was gonna come across via the camera until I did my mushroom video. You can find that, I'll link it wherever if you want to see, but I was working late into the day and I had to film in the evening as the sun was going down, and I was watching that footage back and I was like, oh my god, the garden looks gorgeous. People have to see this. Here's my other cat baby. This is Draco. He's 9 years old now. My distinguished old man. He's the sweet one. He's the one who wants pets. And you can also kind of tell the difference. He doesn't have nearly as shiny of fur as Miss Kata over there. My favorite part of the garden are these arches, and they actually are starting to have something on them again. So before we get to the arches, I'll show you this giant kale that I've got growing right here. This is from the Experimental Farm Network. It's from Kaleidoscope Kale Blend. It's just gorgeous, and these leaves are huge. Also, my peas, which I thought were not going to grow this spring, are flowering. And those flowers are just the prettiest thing. Oh my god. I came out here and saw one of these yesterday and I was like, just so amazed. I think, yeah, that's also the same kind. There's 2 different kinds planted, and over there are white flowers on the peas. So that's probably how I'm going to tell them apart, because I was smart and I did not label them. That's kind of a recurring theme for me in my garden. Oh, we have to go back and look at the onions, because I completely forgot to show you guys that they have started bulbing up. You can see it the best on this one. Look at that. Oh, this is in your way. I actually have, that's an onion. Like, that's wild. My onions last year, I had to kind of abandon them because I planted them before I moved, and well, you know, I moved and I abandoned them, and the person who was watching over the garden, because it was like in the back of a bunch of apartments, told me that they would water it, whatever, and I could come harvest in a couple of months when they were ready. And I don't think they got watered. They were kind of puny and not really that great. I mean, they were tasty, but like, these are like actually onion sized, and I'm just so excited. Between that and all of this like massive garlic, I swear it's not elephant garlic, I'm gonna have onions and garlic for months. Like this, look at this. This is, what is that? Hip height on me, this garlic, and I'm 5'4". Like, oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna finish walking down the trellis row now. I wanted to show you guys these mushrooms that are coming up. These, I've looked into it, these are ink caps. They are not the mushrooms that I had planted here, but they have been in the garden before, so they were already established here, and some of them have already come up and died. But yeah, I think That's an ink cap. And if we walk on down past my wind chime, there's where the turnips going to flower are and the beets. And then along here, I have potatoes. Eventually there should be more potatoes coming up in here. These are purple fingerling potatoes. They're growing really fast, actually. I think they've about doubled in size since you guys saw them. Oh, and if we turn around by the turnips here, I forgot to show you, I planted some radishes and they popped this week. There, let's pull one, let's look at them. That is gorgeous. That is the picture of your stereotypical radish. This is actually my first time growing a radish that looks like the radish pictures that everybody uses. I grew black Spanish radishes, and I've also grown icicle radishes before. This is my first year planting this type. I'll have to put it on the screen because I don't remember exactly what it's called. All right, so we have one more row to look at, and this is also garlic here, but this is much smaller garlic. And this entire row is a different variety, but it's also in a different location. So it's super hard to tell what all the factors are in the difference in size between these two. I have a feeling location has a lot to do with it, but probably also variety. And I'll go ahead and put this variety up too, because I don't remember off the top of my head. These beautiful flowers are Brussels sprouts that I have let go to seed, same reason as the turnips. Don't they look really similar, right? Except just sized up a bit. And similar to the turnips, they're making these little pods. I'm interested to see how big these pods get, because radish pods will get quite large and fat, much larger than the turnip pods. And I've never seen Brussels sprouts go to seed. So that'll be new and fun. And I'll be sure to show you guys how I collect the seeds for next year. Here's my first radish that's going to seed. Flowers are a lot smaller and paler colored. You'll notice I've planted a lot of random radishes around my garden, and the express purpose of some of these random radishes is just for them to go to seed and be theoretical pest control. And so we don't have any pods showing up on this one yet, but they are going to get a lot fatter than the ones on those Brussels sprouts or the turnips, I think. Here are those beautiful white pea flowers that I pointed out. They're still really gorgeous, but I do have an affinity for things that are purple. You'll notice I have all the purple lettuces, and you'll see coming into the summer I have the purple version of like almost everything that I can. Ah, there's another one. Look at that. Okay, so let's take a look at the raised bed. I have intentionally let this cilantro go to seed. I harvested a lot of it for drying and preserving, and you can watch that video on my channel. But I did leave quite a bit of foliage for it so it could make some good coriander for me. And also, my parsley is going to flower. This is the third year on that parsley. And it's still going strong. It actually made the move with me. It was in a container previously, and then I brought it and put it in the raised bed here, and it has been just doing great. These thyme flowers are absolutely beautiful and delicate little things. And then my stevia, if you didn't know, stevia dies back in the winter and then comes back from its roots. So you can plant it once and then it will perennially come back, at least in most places. Here, it doesn't get super cold. It gets down to like, I've seen like 10, 15 at the extremes, because this is zone 7B, and that's 7B as in boy, not 7D, as somebody got confused. 7 letter B. Okay, so finally we can take a look at the berry patch. I know it doesn't look like much from far away, but things are greening up. I have 4 blueberry bushes, and I actually had to replant some of my blackberries. So this one came back fine on its own, and then this one and this one I got new because I'm pretty sure they were just dead. I dug a little bit when I was putting this in. I dug a little bit around here I didn't see any signs of life, but I put it over to the side and kind of left this alone just in case, I guess. But overall, yeah, I wasn't too sure about these. So Stark Brothers was having a sale. I decided I'll go ahead and get some backups. And up over here, same thing with the raspberries. This one I'm not sure if it's coming back, but I do have these ones coming back. And the raspberries are thornless, and Stark Brothers has been out of those for a while. So I had originally gotten these on Amazon, but they come in a pack of 3, and I don't want 3, I just need 1. So I'm like holding off a little bit, see if this one will actually come back or not. Alrighty guys, that is it for this garden tour. Remember, you can check in every Wednesday to see a new garden tour, and I'm hoping by next week I actually have some of the summer stuff planted out. It is ready, it is time, the temperature is correct. I just have to find the time to do it. So hopefully that will happen. But anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I wish you guys all the best and happy gardening.